Hello everyone, we're on episode 7 and we have one more episode to go before we wrap up this series on video production for solopreneurs. So in this series, we aim to help small entrepreneurs learn how to create their own video content, because as we know, this is the age where you need a video content to launch your brand, to gain awareness, and also to have some sort of conversion on your business, whatever you're doing on the digital space. My name is Robert. I'm a content creator and my passion is to help you become content creators. Okay, in the past 6 episodes, we have been trying to provide, basic insights on how easy it is for you to come up with your own video content. So we covered from creating your own storyboard up to the details of coming up with a very simple edit using Adobe Premiere Pro. So we have a lot of requests from our friends to create a series on Filmora. So we're gonna be preparing a short series for that as well. If not, just one episode for those who wanted to use Filmora, because Premiere Pro is quite pricey and it takes a lot of commitment to learn the software and to really subscribe on an annual basis. So today I want to talk about something that would make your videos interesting, and our topic would cover animation and text for today. So you would learn the principle of how animation works. So if this is your first time doing animation, you would learn the very basic principles why animations are important and how it is created. Using these principles, when you jump into other softwares like After Effects, for example, you will be able to use the same principles and create your animation and just import it back to your Premiere Pro projects and then export it as your final video. So we're gonna head onto my computer right now and I'm just gonna be discussing to you the basics of animation and also showing you how to come up with really simple but cool text on screen for your videos. So we're going to start with a blank sequence. So we have an empty sequence right here. I'm calling it animation. So we have the usual program panel here, and you have the layers here for your sequence or your timeline. So what is an animation? If this is the first time that you're creating animation, it's as simple as showing movement on your screen. So it's a matter of showing an instance from one point to another, and so on and so forth. As long as you have 2 or more instances of your clips, your text, your images, your stock videos, whatever you have, your shapes in your screen, that is practically what animation is. So to give you a clear example of an animation, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go to my type tool here, which is on my tool palette. I would just click here, and going back to my screen, my program, I would just click anywhere in the middle of the screen. So you would see a red line or a red rectangle in the middle of the screen. So as you would notice on my timeline, I have that a frame in my sequence already, and it's called a graphic. Okay, so how I can change that is, if I go to my essential graphics on the right, I've mentioned this in the past few episodes, this is where I can write my text. Okay, so it's as simple as writing my text, and we have stuff here where I can align, I can change the font, I can change the color and other attributes for my text. So let's say I want Helvetica bold. Okay, let's make this a bit orange. Okay, and if you want to bring the text in the middle of the screen, it allows me to do that using this align and transform here on this menu. So I would click vertical center and horizontal center. So basically right now my text is in the middle of the screen. So let's try and create another title. Okay, so how I can do that is, first I can either create a new layer here where I can choose rectangle, let's say, and then I want to make it, white. As you would notice on the essential graphics, the shape is on top of the text, so I will just simply pull this down so that my shape goes below my text. Okay, so I'm just gonna create a basic white rectangle background for my text right here. Okay, now I have the simple text on the middle of my screen with a white rectangle. So now we can proceed to animating my text. Okay, so the way to do that, let's just set this to a 5-second clip. So the way to do that is either I go to the effects, where I would just select push. So when I drag the push, I've shown it in previous episodes before. I would just have to drag the effects here. So when I drag it here, it gives me that duration of the animation from the beginning towards the end, where you show a bit of a brown bar or brown line on your clip. So it means the animation would start from here going to this part. So when I play the video, okay, so that's a very basic demonstration of how animation works. But you would want something more complex than this, because this is the simplest way to animate your graphic on screen. So just to highlight, if I click this brown bar here, which is selecting the effect, and I go to my effects control here, so I would see all this stuff here that would allow me to change the behavior of my animation. So I can change the duration. Right now it's at 1 second and 5 frames. So that's how you read it. This is second and this is frame. Okay, so it's 1 second and 5 frame. Because we are at a 25 frames per second clip, let's try and do it less than 1 second, which is 20 frames. Okay, as you would notice, my clip got shorter, and it means my animation would be a bit faster. If I want it to be a bit more faster, let's say 10 frames. Okay, this is more what I want to accomplish. Okay, so my clip is moving from my left to my right. So as you would notice, when I'm previewing my animation, there's a bit of a blur here because I have selected playback resolution of 1/4, which helps me to speed up my editing. So if you want a full resolution, it's okay, but your machine would not be fast enough for this if you have a lot of elements on your sequence. So let's try and select full and play our clip. So that's what we have now. And another one to highlight is that if you want to animate your clip, because right now it's coming from the left to the right, so if you want it coming from the other side, you would just simply select this transition effect again, and on this effects control, just click on reverse, and when I play the video, that would come from the right. So those are very basic simple animation. So what I was talking about a while ago is that this consists of 2 instances of my clip. The first instance is the one where it's on the right side of my sequence, which is not visible right now, going to the second sequence, which is at the middle of my screen. So to make this clearer, let's do the other way of animating a clip on your screen. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna select this clip just to make sure that we're working on the clip that we want, and on this side in the effects control we have what you call the attributes that you can apply effects to, or movement or animation. So you can animate the motion. So basically, it's position, scale, rotation, anchor point, and filter. But we're gonna just be dealing with rotation, scale, and position right now. So if you wanna adjust the scale, the width, and the height independent of each other, you would just have to unclick the uniform scale. But we're just gonna work on the uniform scale right now. And you can also animate the opacity. This is the, how clear the clip is. Time remapping, we're not gonna show that today. As you would notice, in the previous versions of Premiere Pro, you only have this portion here, the video attributes. So regardless if you're using a video, a clip, a graphic, a shape, an image, it's called video here on your effects control panel. So in the latest versions of Premiere Pro, they have the graphics section here, which is just practically what we did on our graphics panel. So it means we can animate it individually, the text and the shape, or we can animate it as a clip, okay, which means the text and the shape together. Okay, so let's do the video animation or the clip animation here. So what I want to show you is, this is called the toggle animation icon, okay? So it looks like a clock. Once you see this in Premiere Pro or even in After Effects, it means you can animate that an attribute. So how you do that is, first you would set your playhead. Let's say I want to start at the 5-frame mark and assign a keyframe on that. Let's say I want to change the position, okay? So it means what I just did is I created the first instance of my clip. So moving to, let's say, 15 frames, okay, I want to do the end point of my keyframe. So right now, if you can see here, I have two instances of my clip, the first instance and the second instance, which I can click and it turns to blue. So how I navigate from one instance to another is this icon here that shows go to the previous frame or go to the next frame. So you can either select it manually by clicking the mouse, but this is safer so that you're sure that you're going to the specific frame. So at this case, if we want to show the previous animation that we did using the effects, I'm just gonna drag my X. Now I'm not gonna show it all the way out of the frame, but just to show you and demonstrate how it goes. So right now, my first instance is my clip is starting at the left, and my second instance, it goes to the middle. So when I play my video, so if I want it to be shorter, I would just click this keyframe here, just drag it closer, and if I play the clip again, so it's faster. So what's interesting here is, I can do it in a way where as my clip is going from the left to the right, I want to adjust my scale. So in the same way, the technique is that I would align a keyframe for the position onto my scale attribute. So I would just click here, create my first keyframe, and then on my position keyframe, I would go to the next keyframe and align it to my second instance of my scale, okay? So now I have attributes assigned for scale and position. So as you would notice, my toggle animation icon here is blue. It means there's an active animation that's assigned to it. So if I go back to the first instance of my animation and I wanted to start small, okay, so right now you notice that it was a bit off from my previous position. So I'm just gonna go and click my position here and just keep dragging it here just because I want to align it here, okay? So when I play my graphic, okay, since we have two attributes animated, let's try to do it. Let's try to adjust the duration a bit longer, Let's see. Okay, so what we did here is we assigned two instances for the position and scale attribute. Okay, so as my clip or my playhead goes to my final keyframe, which is at the middle, the height also adjusts. Okay. So lastly, I can also add the opacity for this. And again, just so that my playhead is aligned, I would create the keyframe here and align it again to my end keyframe. So I want to start with 0%, which would make my clip invisible. And when I play my clip here, just to show you, I'm going to use my arrow key. Okay, so that's very basic animation where you can play around just by using the motion attributes. Okay, if you want to rotate, just to show you, I'm not gonna animate the rotation, but if I change my rotation here, you would notice. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring it back to 0. I don't want to change the rotation part. Okay, so again, just to review, animation is simply creating two instances or more. When I say more, if I just drag this a bit here, and let's say I want to go here and assign keyframes for each of this. Okay, let's say on my position, I want to bring it down this time. Okay, and on my scale, I want to make it to 10%. That's too small. Let's say 40. Okay, and adjust the position again, and I'm gonna go to 0 again for this part. So obviously this will be a fast animation, so I'm just gonna drag this here. So when I play my clip, okay, so the problem with this is, once it hits the part where it's supposed to show the final end frame, so most beginning editors would forget that they have to at least display or show this ending keyframe for a while before moving to the next animation. So what I'm gonna be doing is just gonna create another frame here. So this is 960 and 540. Bring this to 100. Bring this to 100. So just gonna drag this all the way to the right, and this also. So what happens here is once it reaches this stage, it would stay showing that before going to the next instance. So once you play it, okay, so for something like this, you would need this to be longer, so the animation would be shorter, but showing your frame would be a bit longer, like this. So that's the basic principle of using animation on Premiere Pro, and using this, you can start creating and experimenting on your Premiere Pro on how to make your videos, interesting. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something from this very short video, and if this video has provided value for you, I hope you can subscribe and share it to your friends who would benefit from this. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on my next videos.